Welcome to episode 39 of the Twig Snapper Podcast. Today I'm joined by Sadie Storm. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Break is almost here. I've got a couple exams tomorrow and then, some nice rest and relaxation. So I'm looking forward to that.
One final tomorrow, and then I'm all set. So I'm super
There you
excited.
go. The countdown. A couple hours.
Yep.
So you're from New Hudson, Michigan, fellow Michigander, but you're a troll and I'm a Youper. So
I I know.
have you ever been to the UP?
Yeah. My grandparents live in like the Houghton Hancock area. They're right off of Bootjack, and my dad
Oh,
actually
really?
went to Michigan. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I grew up in Hancock, and I live in Hancock. I was born in Hancock, so I know Storm. There's local storms. You probably related to them?
Yeah, probably. It's a big family.
Well, there you go. There could be a small connection, small world. Usually it's always funny. So let's talk hockey. Why did you choose post university when you were picking different places to play?
Well, I was looking at a lot of D3 schools and was getting a lot of opportunities there, but Heath Isaacson had actually approached me and mentioned that the program was going D1. And I thought, you know what, this could be a really great opportunity, like bringing a D3 program to a D1 and bringing lots of exposure to it. And I love the school. Have no complaints about the school whatsoever. The hockey's been great, and I'm very, very lucky to be where I am today.
Yeah, I was looking at the history, and I'm not gonna lie, I'd never heard of post university until earlier this year. Your
Yeah,
football team played Northern, like
yeah,
in the fall, and I was like, who's this school that Northern's playing? Never heard of them. And then I was doing research for guests, and I was just looking around, and yep, found you guys had a D1 women's hockey program.
mhm.
So then I figured you guys had to be a newer program if I had never heard of you, which you are. 2016, 2017 was the D3 year, and then you guys bumped up to D1.
Yeah.
Um,
That was my
with,
freshman year. So our when did I start college? 2019. We bumped up to level at in 2019, and we're in a league called Nuha. So we like St. Michael's, we play Long Island University, we play Sacred Heart, Franklin Pierce. I'm trying to think. Stonehill. That's another brand new program. And then next year there's another school with a new program, but I'm blanking on who it is right now.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know there's another. Is it Assumption? Are they joining your Assumption College?
I believe so, because I know that they've got a men's team, but I'm assuming it's Assumption.
Yeah, I just know they're another team that's joining D1, so I'm assuming that'd be the one that's in your conference.
Yeah.
But you guys have other teams in your conference that have D1 women's programs and like D3 men's, like Franklin Pierce
Yeah.
and different things. So that's kind of neat.
Our men's team is technically, because it's Post is a D2 school, so they're technically D2, but they play in a D3 league, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at that last night actually, and
Yeah.
trying to figure out what was going on there. But there we go, got that settled. Um, so before we dive more into like the year and building as a new program, I figured we'd kind of talk about a few things in the past couple of years, like your first college goal. Everyone always remembers their first college goal, their first pro goal, their first goal, wherever it is. Everyone always remembers it. So maybe you could take us through that story and how it happened.
Yeah, of course. We were actually playing, it was in October. We were doing a breast cancer awareness benefit game. So there was this huge, very exciting game. A lot of families had come out. We, it was like basically like a Pink the Rink type thing, and it was super exciting. And it was actually in honor of one of our teammates. Her mom had passed away. So we were all super excited about this game. We were playing St. Michael's, and it was I believe it was it was the Saturday game. And I was like, oh, this is super exciting. I hadn't scored yet. And I called my dad on the phone before the game, and he was like, just relax, just play your game. You'll be fine. Like, you earned your spot here. Like, just show them what you can do. And then later in the game, I got a breakout pass from my teammate, Emily Racco, and I just shot it at the top of the circle, and it went in. And even since then, I'm like, that's my favorite goal that I've ever scored.
Yeah. What was your reaction? Did you throw your arms up? Did you do some kind of celebration? Were you stunned? Were you like, oh my gosh, it went in? I mean,
well, a little bit of like the stunned and like like this is my moment. So like I was like, oh my God, like I did that. I really I just scored my first D1 goal. Like, this is amazing.
Right. So many other people can't say they've done that. You could say you've scored a goal. Well, not multiple goals. If we move on through time, it's not the only one you scored, but it's the most memorable one, and it's kind of exciting that it happened at a big event. Like you said, it was Pink the Rink for breast cancer awareness. There's a lot of people there. You guys are playing for more of a purpose, it feels like, and then you get to score your goal. It makes it mean a little bit more, especially when you're going to remember it, when you're going to think back to it.
Yeah, it was super exciting.
And you also you led the team in points last year, is that correct?
Yeah, so my freshman year I was the second leading scorer, and then last year I was the leading scorer. Yeah,
that's pretty exciting. That's got to make you feel good, rebuild your confidence. I mean, like you said, you were getting a lot of D3 offers coming out of when you're going to go to college. Then you pick D1 and you lead the team in points. Really reinforces that I can play at this level. I'm meant to be here. And
I mean,
definitely.
I'm definitely not the type of player that does everything on my own. Like,
right.
I will give where credit is due. Like, 100% of those goals are because of my teammates. Like, I'm not the type that will, go up and down the rank multiple. But it's been great. I have really no complaints.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's that's the goal, right? You guys also have a pretty cool logo. The eagle looks pretty sick on the front of those jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've always been a sucker for logos and jerseys and colors and uniform colors, and I like the purple and the orange. It's a good combo.
Yeah. Well, we got new jerseys this year. So the old ones that we had the white home one, and then we had the orange away one. And I've always loved the white one. I think the white one is just, it's just beautiful. And then this year we got a white home one and a purple away one. And the purple away one just says Post right on the chest, and then our number underneath it. And they're so nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like a classic look. It's pretty simple, but it's still really cool. It's got the purple, and then there's some orange on there, right? I mean, it's a pretty cool jersey. So I've always been a sucker for logos and jerseys. I had to bring that up. So let's talk about this season. You guys are 2-16. Obviously, it's not an awesome record, but if we look at the circumstances, how long you guys have been a program, I mean, you guys are like with recruiting and just like having a program established, you're competing against teams that have had a program established for a long time. They've got deep recruiting roots. So that's not easy, but you got to look at, I think, like building blocks. Every win is a building block. You can look at what you guys did right and, try to build off of that, take some momentum. And then you guys also played some really tough competition like Syracuse. I mean, that's a pretty tough.
Granted, they have a great program, and it was so much fun to go and play them. And I played on the Friday. I played in the Friday game, and it was like so much. I don't want to say better competition than our league, because we do have a great league, but it was just so different. Like, it was just like nonstop grit. Somebody was always on you, and it made it tough. And like, that's the type of teams that I like to play, because it's like, wow, like they're really making us work.
Right, right. And they've, been around long enough in the D1 world where they know, exactly what to do. And they play a pretty tough conference, so
Oh,
league. So, I mean, they're going to be tough. But yeah, I can imagine that was exciting. Even though you guys didn't win, they won pretty handily. It was still exciting to play a major program when you're in a little bit smaller conference.
yeah.
Definitely exhilarating. But you can always say you were part of the first foundational blocks of post women's hockey, like D1 hockey. You were part of each building block that's going to build this program to whatever the future is. Um, so, I mean, is that kind of exciting to think about that you're part of this original foundation for the team?
I mean, I love it. I have had the best years of my life here. It's crazy to think that. Like, I feel like I just started. Like, I think, my God, like, I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate in the spring, but I feel like I just stepped into Shelton for the first time, and I'm just now meeting my teammates. And I get to look back, and like, I tell my friends, I'm like, yeah, like, even though like there was a program before, like, we kind of built the foundation for it. And I hope that, like, moving forward and into the future, that it stays strong, like the program stays together, and the competition will just get better and better, and I'm super excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Do you think there's a good future for post women's hockey? I mean, the more established you guys get, the more it's going to attract recruits. I mean, there's probably some that are a little gun shy. I don't want to go play at a new program. I'd rather go somewhere else. But I mean, the longer you guys are around, the more success you start to have, and all of that is definitely going to help. But do you think there's a good future for post women's hockey?
I really do. Like, so when I committed, I was one of the first ones to commit from Michigan for like the D1 level. And I grew up playing tier 2 hockey, and then my junior and senior year I went and played for Meyer, which is like the tier 1 program now known as Bigby. And since coming to school, I've had girls reach out to me. They're like, "Hey, like, how's your school? Like, how's the program?" I've had younger girls, like, when I go back home, they'll ask me about it, and I'm like, "If you're interested, like, reach out. Like, recruiting is huge. Like, now's the time to do it." I have really high hopes.
Yeah.
Gretchen knows what she's doing. She coached at Taft, so she knows a lot of the girls in the area. Allison's from Minnesota, so she knows a lot of the girls from like the Midwest. She can reach out there, and I think that they're going to do a very good job.
Right, right. And that's good that you think it's in good hands. When somebody on the inside thinks it's good, that's even better than, the fans thinking, "Oh, I think we'll be in great shape next year." But when the players think that, the leadership is good and everything, that's what really counts. So hopefully, I'm a big underdog guy. I always have been. Looking at, if I look at the Kentucky Derby and the horse races, I'll pick one of the ones that has like the worst odds to win with the coolest name. And so
Yeah.
I've always rooted for the underdog. So I like to see new programs like yours succeed, and then kind of vault themselves up there. And maybe in the next couple of years, you guys will take down a major team, in one of your non-conference games. And that's just, that's where it starts. After that, everything moves forward. But yeah, definitely some exciting stuff to look forward to with the future of post women's hockey. So another thing that you're big in is mental health in sports. You guys talk a little bit about what the hidden opponent is. On your bio, it says you're a campus captain. So yeah,
Yes.
talk a little bit about what that organization is, what the movement is, and what a campus captain means.
So they had an opponent. I believe it started in 2016, I want to say. Victoria Brown started it. She was a former D1 athlete, and she wanted to end the stigmatism that mental health is like a horrible thing. We don't want to talk about it, like just push it away, when in reality, like understanding that everybody goes through stuff, but athletes have always had this kind of pressure on them, like you need to do well, you need to perform well, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it's draining. It's very, very hard to compete all the time and not be able to sit back and like be like, wow, like I'm not really doing that great right now. So she started the program to emphasize like there is help. We want to get you help. We want to get you to see somebody, to talk to someone, to find ways on your own. Like I love to journal. I find that very therapeutic. And I also see a therapist, which I have no shame in saying. I encourage everybody to see and talk to somebody, because it's hard to fight a like win a game, do well in practice, really anything, when you have so much riding on you. Um, for being a campus captain, it's more like I spread the word to anybody who is seeking help. It's technically aimed for athletes, but I'm more of like, if anybody ever needs help, I have the resources, I can guide you somewhere. I would love to, although I'm not a professional, I will sit down and talk with you and figure out how to try and fight through this issue that we've got going on.
Right. I mean, sometimes some people just need someone to talk to, and then you can point them in the right direction if you've got the resources, you know who to contact. But definitely in recent years, I mean, not just in athletics, but in overall, mental health is being pushed to the forefront. And in college, most universities have tons of resources available for kids, counseling services, all this different stuff. And I know at Tech, it's all included, so you can just go see your counselor, which is awesome. I mean, you've got to take advantage of that while you're there, because once you get out, you've got to pay for it, but it's still worth it because your mental health is obviously super important. Um, but I also know a lot of athletes are big into brain training and all these other things because now there's more focus on, like you said, it's hard to play a game, go to practice when you've got other stuff weighing you down, things that are on your mind that whatever it is, everyone's got issues, everyone's got struggles they're going through. Nobody's perfect, but it's definitely being pushed, and I see there's a lot now more professional athletes coming out with stories, NFL players, and whoever it is, and I think that's awesome because you're going to see kids are going to see their whoever they look up to. If that person can speak out, or if that person's got problems, it's okay because so many people see the professional athletes as living these perfect lives. They're just living the dream. That's like kind of the model they give it. Like if you're in the NHL, you're in the NFL, whatever, you're just living the dream. Everything's perfect. So when you get these athletes to speak out, people are going to see and understand, like, it's okay. My idol has problems. It's okay that I do too, or whatever. So I definitely think it's all definitely important.
Well, a lot of the times growing up, especially for like girls playing hockey, where it's like more of a male dominated sport, it was always told, leave your issues out of the rink. Like we have something important to focus on. Like we need to focus on the game. We need to focus on winning. But it's like, how am I supposed to win a game when I am losing this battle with mental health? Like I have so much on my plate that it's just very, very difficult to even wake up in the morning, go to practice.
Right. And it's not even like everyone's got some, it's just in college, especially, even if, you don't struggle with, some sort of, a lot of people, they struggle with OCD or depression or whatever it is. Even if you don't struggle with that, there's still so much pressure and stress from school itself and everything that your professors pile on you and everything else you've got going on in your life, it's almost impossible for any student to not struggle with anxiety of some sort.
Yeah.
And if you've got anxiety issues, like you said, you can't focus on the game, and your performance isn't going to be at its peak, what it could be. You're not going to play awesome. You're not going to practice awesome. And it's definitely important to talk about, to get out there. People know, like you said, it's okay. Everyone's got problems. You've got to,
Yeah,
you've
you
got to
just
share
gotta
it. And
fight through them.
yeah. And I definitely think it's all moving in the right direction in athletics and just in everyday life. The view on mental health has been changing in the right direction. So I think that's awesome to see.
Yeah, me too.
So you also have in your bio that you're going to go to be an elementary school teacher. That's what you want for your
That's
future career?
the goal. I take my MTELs, which is like the Massachusetts Teaching Licensure Test, in March. And I'm so excited. I've always dreamed about being a teacher.
You must like kids if you're going to teach
Oh,
kindergarten.
oh yeah. Kindergarten, but I would not mind doing like first or second grade. I
Okay.
think those are the best years because you kind of get to like mold the kids into their like selves, and it's just super fun. Like, I don't know, I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Well, it's that they're starting to get to that like between age where they're starting to mature, but they're still little kids, obviously. I mean, first graders, they're still so much they don't understand, they don't know. They're so much of that child innocence, and but they're in that progression towards, like, by the time you're a fifth grader, you're getting to be a big kid. Or I always remember being in elementary school in those early grades thinking the fifth graders were such big kids, and then when I got there, I felt like that was the like, I mean, I didn't feel that different, like maybe that's how it always is. You think the highest grades are such big kids, and then when you get there, it's not true. But it's just, yeah, that's kind of a good age if you're, because kindergartners can be wild, obviously. Um, and then like fifth graders, they could start. It's like a change. So like you said, it's a good age. First grade, maybe second grade, whatever. That's definitely exciting. So what's your favorite part about hockey? Playing hockey, the game, just in a broad sense.
Honestly, it would probably be, and I know it's like, okay, everybody's gonna say that, but like the people that I've met throughout, I've been playing hockey for I think 16 years now, and I have genuine connections with people that I met when I was 7 years old, and it's the greatest feeling in the world. And like I get to say like, yeah, my sport brought me some of my best friends, and it's even the
Yeah,
coaches like talk to my 19U coach. I'll send him a text every once in a while just to check in and just see
yeah.
how he's doing.
The hockey community is so tight in every aspect. I mean, everybody knows everybody. There's all these connections, and they last forever. I mean, once you make connections, I mean, I'm not saying everyone's best buddies for life, but I mean, everyone's always willing to help. I've noticed that a lot in the hockey community. Somebody, you need somebody to help you with something. They're so willing, and coaches and players, and once you make the smallest connection, people are always seem to be. I think the hockey community is one of the best and tightest sports communities out of all the sports. It just seems that way to me.
When I was a junior in high school, 2 of my teammates had passed away in a car accident on the way to practice. And still to this day, I can talk about it now and not get kind of down on myself because it still is very touchy subject, but I've never felt so surrounded by love, whether it was like my own teammates or their parents or even other teams that we played and their families, like the hockey community like really came together and found a way to celebrate their lives, which was amazing. And like
Yeah.
still to this day, my teammates and I will, like old teammates will be like, hey, like, how's it going? How are you doing? Like, do you have anything you want to talk about? And it's amazing.
Yeah. And it's sad that, it has to be like that. There has to be some sort of event, but it's so comforting to know when there is something bad that happens that the community is there for you. Like you wish it didn't have to. You wish you didn't have to be comforted for those situations, but it's nice knowing that okay, something bad happened and everyone's there for me, and that you feel that love, from the hockey community. Um, it is
Really.
definitely the best sports community. um it's clear at every level. It's clear that people are there for each other, and people make connections easily and whatnot. Do you have a best hockey memory? I mean, through your whole life. It doesn't have to be college, just anything.
Now I have to really think. I think my personal best memory would be the first time I won a state championship. I think I was 12 or 13, but it was great because my dad was one of the coaches at the time, and I got to give him a big hug at the end of the game. And it was just, I was like, oh my gosh, like that work, all that hard work off.
Yeah.
And then not like my own personal hockey, but I have an 11-year-old brother and he plays hockey, and just like every time I see him, I'm like, oh, that's so great. Like he's improved so much. And I talked to my dad and I talk about it a lot. The player that he's becoming, like I feel I get so much joy out of it because
Yeah.
I see him every time he skates. And it's just, I don't know. It's just great.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's another thing about hockey is, I mean, it's not like basketball. Once you learn how to run, you know how to run. I'm not saying basketball is easy. I love playing basketball, and there's so much you can work on with dribbling and all this other stuff to get, and shooting. I'm not putting basketball down. Nobody get that idea. But skating is harder than running. And learning to skate really well, learning to stop, learning, all this stuff, it's super hard. And it's kind of cool. Like you said, you can watch your brother
Yeah.
develop, and you can see him, especially you're far away from home now. So if you go back, you can notice a difference. Like the last time I saw him, he couldn't do that. And now, so awesome.
Well, he's all better than me. And I'm like, well, you probably are. You'll probably, I want you to be.
Yeah. Of course, you've got to have a little sibling rivalry with your big sister. All right. So before we wrap it up here, what are your hobbies when you're not playing hockey? Which I'm assuming during the season it takes up most of your time, but when you're not, you get to just relax. What do you like to do, or in the off season, what do you do?
Well, even during the season, actually, like I had said before we started, I work at a daycare, and I do ABA work, which is like working with children on the spectrum, and I absolutely love it. It gives me like the greatest joy I could have ever asked for, being able to work with kids, especially like doing ABA is a lot of fun for me because it's one-on-one and I get to really know my clients, and I feel like I'm making a difference, and I find so much joy in that. Um, what else? I like to go on walks. I know that sounds kind of boring. And the
No,
neighborhood that it's like a big hill, so it's like, ooh, this is kind of fun. Like I'll go on a walk every now and then.
I'm totally down with that. I go for walks all the time. I like going for in the winter, like a late night walk when it's snowing and then the snow is peacefully falling, and and you got to like bundle up, and every time you walk under a street light, you just see the flakes falling. And I don't know. It's most people they might think walking is dumb and boring, but I don't know. It's just, especially at night, I find it's so peaceful because there's nobody's driving around, nobody's out. It's just, so I agree with that.
I gotta think. I know it sounds weird, but I also love organizing and I love cleaning. So like, I but I will spend an entire day just like reorganizing things or cleaning, and I'm just like, oh, this is so peaceful to me. I love this. This is
my mom would love to hear that. She loves organizing too, and she'll like come into my room and just it's like you should this could be such fun to organize this. I'll help you, and I'm like I don't know about that.
You can tell I'm on my way.
Yeah, well, so organizing walks, children, which kids are awesome, obviously. Yeah. What kind of music do you like to listen to? Do you have pump up music for games and then like relaxing music, or is it all the same?
A little bit of both. So earlier this year, I got really into the show Glee. And I know everybody's like, oh, that show is so stupid. But it's funny because my most played playlist on my phone is like musicals and like Broadway hits. And I don't know why, but that just gets me pumped up. Or I love Christmas music. I will listen to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You year round. I listen to it before every single game because it's like, if that song has mood, then I'm going to play well.
Yeah, that's Christmas music in itself. Whenever I'm feeling down, that picks my spirits up. I love, some people. I was working at Dunham Sports, a sporting goods chain in the Midwest. If you know what it is, I don't know. I was working there around Christmas, and they play Christmas music when it gets close to Christmas, and so many employees were just complaining and they hated it and they thought it was so annoying, and I was just like, oh man, like I think it's great.
It just makes me happy and it puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, well, and it's great pump up music.
Works.
Yeah, and whatever works for you is what you got to listen to. I mean, you got to get yourself ready for the game. But musicals are good too. I can't say I listen to a lot except for Mamma Mia. Huge.
Of Mamma Mia.
I'm a huge Mamma Mia fan. I'd call myself a fanatic, just a super fan, honestly. It's just awesome. The movies are great, but seeing it live is even better. If you ever get the chance, you have to take it. It's so good. And anyone else listening, you might think like, oh, Mamma Mia, that's not my style, but it is so good. The story's great. The singing's awesome. It's just because I'll tell a quick story that nobody probably wants to hear, but I was in my high school travel club. We went over to England, Ireland, and Wales. And when we were in England, we were going to go see like a Broadway production, and it was either Wicked or Mamma Mia. And I wanted to go see Wicked. I was like, that sounds pretty cool. And everyone wanted to see Mamma Mia. And I said, well, what's that? What's it about? And they told me, it's about a girl trying to figure out who her father is. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't sound good at all. But I was going to have to go with some other school to Wicked. So I was like, fine, I'll go see Mamma Mia. And I instantly fell in love with it. I bought all these ABBA albums, and, I've got a huge Mamma Mia playlist and constantly listening to it. So you just got to be open-minded and go see Mamma Mia. And I guarantee you'll fall in love with it. Otherwise, you can message me and tell me I was wrong, but I highly doubt it. People listening to this are going to start listening to Mamma Mia as their pump up pregame music. I mean,
good.
That'd be a good one to get you going before the game.
Oh, exactly.
All right. I think that about wraps it up. My little ramble about about Mamma Mia. So thank you for coming on this episode of the podcast. It was a good time.
For inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.